Bum-ba-da-dum. Howdy, y'all. Welcome to BanjoBenClark.com. Today we're going to learn some fun, what I call closed rhythm licks on the mandolin. And what do I mean by closed? I mean that we're not using any open strings. We're going to take them into any key, and we'll work on that. And whenever I call them rhythm licks, what I mean is we're working out of a chord shape. So if you take that big 4-finger chop, or even if you're just using the 3-finger version, these licks are going to fall right into those positions. So you can go quickly into playing from your chop into these licks. So they work great as rhythm feel licks, but they're also going to beautifully fit in as solo starters and solo fills. So we're going to learn 6 of these licks. I'm really excited to show them to you. Pretty bluesy and jazzy. You'll see as we go along. If you're watching here on the website, then you've got all your licks here on this page. Just click the next video segments and download those tabs. If you're watching somewhere else, we'll learn a couple of licks, and I'd love to have you over at BanjoBenClark.com. Let's cover just a little bit of chord theory before we jump into these licks. We're working today out of a big 4-fingered closed chop chord, you might call it. And we need to know what these notes are that we're playing with our left hand. And if you're not familiar with this chord at all, then you need to come over and watch my rhythm courses that I have on the site. I'll teach you all about them. But whenever we make this big chord, let's just start out with an open G chord. It looks like this. And then let's add another note. We can add this ring finger on the 5th fret. And then if we add another note, which is kind of a stretch, but you get used to it, your pinky on the 7th fret down here, all that together at this particular spot on the fretboard is the G chord, the 4-finger G chop chord. Now, obviously, because it's closed, we're not using any open strings. You can move that around wherever you want. So I will typically use this chord position starting in G, maybe G flat. We can only go 1 fret lower than where we're at right now until we run into the mandolin nut. But then if I'm going to play an A flat or an A chord, I'm using the same position up to B and even C. I will use it way up there. Now, once I get up around C, I'll start considering other positions to use. So I might jump down and do the same chord. We're just going to move it up a string and play the C chord with just the first 3 fingers here. Okay, and there's all kinds of other chord positions as well. You can watch all of my chord rhythm videos for that. But let's go back to this 4-fingered chop chord because we need to know what these notes are that we're playing. What I'm most concerned with right now, and what I'm most concerned that you know, is where are your roots? Because that's going to determine where and how we're going to play these licks that I'm going to teach you. So whenever we do these 4-finger chords, it's important to know that our root is under 2 of our fingers. Which ones? Well, it's under our middle finger way up here. That's the root of the chord. So this is a G chord. That's a G note. But our root is also under our ring finger here on the D string on the 5th fret. That's also a G. You hear the relationship? G, 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 G. They're an octave apart. Okay, that's interesting. And we might as well figure out what the other notes are as well. The note that's under our index finger, that's a B note. That's the 3rd of the chord. And the note that we're covering with our pinky, which is not going to be used too much today, is the 5th note of the scale, the D note. Okay, well that's good to know because now I know that wherever I play that chord, even if I play the 3-finger version and move it anywhere I want to around the neck, I've got my root note underneath my middle finger and my ring finger. So that note is the note of the chord that I'm playing. So if you're going to kind of approach this backwards, you're like, I really need a good B lick. Well, you can use one of the 6 licks that we're going to learn today. You just got to get in the right position. How would you do that? Well, get your B notes underneath one of those fingers. So that would be up here. Here's a B note, and here's a B note. So this position. Or you could even play them down here, where this is a B note, and this is a B note. Okay, now we're ready to learn one of these licks. Let's check it out. Lick number 1, I played in the intro. It sounds like this. Check out the tab. Now you'll notice there are no open strings. Okay, but you'll notice also that I am playing right out of this chord position that we've already talked about. Of course I am moving. We're not only playing notes that are covered by that chord position, but we're not having to do any shifting. We're not having to get crazy with our left hand or even with our right hand, at least not right now. We're able to grab all the notes right there in that position. So the way that I'm going to start is with my ring finger on the 5th fret, 3rd, 5, 3, and then let's forget about those little 8th note or 16th note slides right now. Just play a 2nd fret there. 2, 5, 3, 2, 1. So if I play this lick without the slides, it sounds like this. Now if we want to get fancy, which I think we do, then we're going to slide, excuse me, we're going to slide really quickly into that second fret. Okay, and the faster the better. It gives it that little pop. Whenever we do that, it sounds like this. You can even slide in the very first note. Now, how might that look playing in a rhythm context? Well, that looks, it fits really well, right? We're chopping along. See how it fits right in with our rhythm? And I'm not having to do anything drastic position-wise. That lick is right there. And that's the same for all of these licks that we're going to learn today. Now let's talk about it in different keys. Let's say we're not playing out of the key of G. Let me give you two different scenarios. Let's say that we're going to play it out of B. Okay, well, instead of having this as my one chop chord, I'm going to be playing up here. Here's this B chord. Now, nothing's going to change as far as the spacing and the intervals between the notes. We're just going to have new frets, right? But the easy thing to remember about this is that we haven't had to shift around a lot. So it should still sound and feel familiar for us. The notes are still there. Now, they're a little closer together because the frets get smaller as we go up the neck, but it's all still there. We've still got our root underneath here and underneath here. We can find our other notes. Now let's look at another scenario. Let's say that we're playing it out of D. Okay, well, we're probably not going to play our D chord way up there. We're probably going to grab a D chord right here. Okay, and this is just, that's the 4-finger chop chord. We've just raised it up a string. There's nowhere for our pinky to go, and that's okay. We're muting that first string. But guess what? Where are our root notes? They're right here and right here. So the pattern's going to work the same. We're going to start on that 5th fret, right, with our ring finger, and the lick's going to sound like this. Do you hear the relationship? Here's the first way we learned it. Here it is in D. Okay, so that's how these licks can be moved around to any key we want. All we've got to do is get that middle finger or that ring finger over the root of the note, the chord that we're wanting to play the lick for. The rest falls right into place. And remember, you can slide into that 3rd tone, or you don't have to. You can make it as simple or as complex as you want. Okay, you want to look at another one? Let's do that. If you're watching somewhere else beside the website, I'd love to have you on board. You can download these tabs and learn the rest of the licks with us.